In our prior episode, we had discussion about the importance of building relationship. The other piece of keeping somebody connected to the club or the church is to help them be part of the ministry. Well, young people have a real struggle with this because often they're told, you young people, you're the future of our church, which gives us allowance to not include them in the ministry. And so they leave because they need to be part of it. In fact, Pathfinders in particular has a struggle because the official end of Pathfinders is at the end of 10th grade, and yet they can't become staff until they're in college. So we have this 2-year gap where they're not welcome anymore. We'll address that issue at a later point. But we have to be really careful about how we talk to young people to make them feel part. I'm going to argue that they are not our future only. They are the future, but they are also the present. And we need to give them a role to play right now involved in what we're doing. If you're having an evangelistic series, the Pathfinders need to be involved. If you have a greeting team, let the Adventurers and the Pathfinders greet. Not only can they greet at the front door, but they can escort young people to the proper Sabbath school, introduce them to their friends, make a real contribution. But there's all sorts of other ways that they can be included. You know, it's interesting how often adults want children to be seen and not heard. I was speaking to a Pathfinder director who told me this story, true story, happened to him. He was the director in a large church, and they wanted to get the club involved with the regular Sabbath morning ministry. And so they offered to take up the offering. And my understanding is it took up 32 deacons to take the offering each morning. It's that large a church. Well, they had 85 Pathfinders, so they knew they could do this. Well, they went to the church board and they asked them for permission to let the Pathfinders take up the offering. And there was quite a discussion. But ultimately, the head deacon had the final say. And his line was, no, we should not do this. Imagine if one of them dropped it during the service, because our service is recorded and broadcast, and that would just cast a terrible light on what we do in our service. And so the board was swayed and they voted not to allow it. The director went on to tell me that just a few weeks later, they did not have enough deacons to take up the offering. And so, as was the normal procedure, the head deacon went and found the head elder and asked him if he would step in and serve as a deacon. He gladly accepted, and when asked what position he wanted, he asked, can I take up the offering up on the platform? They said, sure. So when the offering call was given, they came down, the head elder walked up onto the platform, took the offering plate, offered it along the line of people, and as he turned to come down the stairs, he slipped. He tripped. He fell on the floor. The tray went down on the floor. The money went everywhere during the recorded service. Everyone rushed up to help him. They got him all situated. He was okay. He was fine. And he got his plate back, and as he walked down the aisle, he walked directly past the director of the Pathfinder Club, who was sitting on the aisle. And as he walked past him, he glanced down at him and he winked at him. Do you catch that? The head elder understood the importance of being a participant in the service. He also understood that anybody could potentially fall. And so to blame that just on the young people was a very unfair call. Well, you can guess at the next board meeting, the board re-voted and allowed the Pathfinders to take up the offering. We need to find ways of involving them in virtually every aspect of ministry that we can involve them in. Now, that means training them. They need to be trained how to do it. They need to be accountable to show up when their shift is used. They need to be involved in the planning and the dreaming as well. But that's how we mentor young people. That's how we train them to be leaders as soon as the opportunity arises. Remember, they are part of the church now, and they need to be involved in your ministry.